feel, Matt?
It may be. I think a lot of it's going to depend on sort of what the city and county are doing, but also on if we get guidance from the governor that we can have more than 10 people meeting in one place. So it's the answer is I don't know just yet, but we're hoping that it is. I mean, it's a lot easier for all of us if we can meet in person.
Oh yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you, Matt.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Let me.
Okay, now I can hear your sound.
You can hear us all right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Excellent.
Reconnected my headset.
Joe, had you heard from Mark?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I just didn't know if we had said anything about not being able to make the meeting or.
No, he should be. He should be here. Yeah. Dan is going to sit in with me. I'm in the office.
6 foot apart, right?
That's right.
Am I clear enough with the window behind me? We had a problem with the meeting the other day.
I can see you pretty well.
Okay.
There, Charlie can see now that he's got his glasses clean.
Nah, still not real well. It's gonna take more than a shirt tail to get these things clean.
Steve. Steve, you may have to run the workshop.
All right.
You want to get started anytime. I haven't heard from,
You haven't heard from Mark?
no, I haven't heard from him. He'll probably join here in a second, but
Okay.
I want to get started.
I had trouble getting on myself.
Yeah, so did Ben. I'm not sure what the
We got
problem is.
We got enough people to get everybody started, don't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Want to start with the Dozer property?
Sure. That's my project, so I'll start. This is a rural final subdivision plat to create 2 new tracts out of a 26-acre tract that currently has one house on it. It's previously been subdivided. That's why it has to come back through the planning commission. It was subdivided after 1999. They're creating 2 10+ acre tracts and leaving a remainder of 5 acres with the house and a pool and a barn on it. So that's going to be the remainder. The 2 new tracts will share a new driveway off Mount Gilead. It looks like there's site distance, but we'll verify that the location. But the proposed location is in the shaded area on the plat, and it'll be a shared driveway between the 2 new tracts being created. It is a county road, so we'll have to approve the location, the exact location within that easement area. Both lots meet all our minimum requirements for size and for width at the building line, and they can get a building area within a 50-foot setback. Mark's calling me right now. I don't have my phone with me though. It's buzzing on my watch. I'll go get that in a second, but so we are recommending approval of the plat. There's no major issues that we can see with it. They'll have to get approval on the final from the health department for the septic system, and any easements from the utility company will have to be signed off on. So we're approving it with just our standard conditions, or recommending approval, sorry.
Anybody have questions for Joe?
Is that consent, Joe?
That is consent eligible, yes.
You didn't have anybody to speak. Nobody represented them to speak on it today, is there?
No.
No, the only one of the applicants that's here is for the last application, at
Okay,
least right now.
we're ready to move on to the next one. Use the state.
Yeah, I'll be giving a summary of this one. This one's actually Michaela's application, but she's not in the office
Matt, can I
today.
weigh in for a second?
Oh, yeah.
Mark just said he'll be joining shortly. He's having technical difficulties.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So this one, kind of similar to that last one, it's a final subdivision plat. It's an agricultural property being 1 5-acre lot being subdivided off of a 35.78 acre lot. So the remainder tract will still be over 30 acres in size. It's located on Burton Pike. With actually the backside of the remainder lot looks like it'll back up to the new section of the bypass that the state is constructing. We didn't have any issues with this plat. It seems to meet all of our regulations. We are recommending approval of the subdivision with the 4 conditions that are listed there in the staff report. Those are all, once again, standard conditions for what otherwise would have been a minor subdivision plat if it hadn't been subdivided previously. This one is also consent eligible.
Anybody have any questions for Matt?
So that,
Looks like
that
another-
drainage easement that runs down the middle isn't gonna pose any problems with the building lot lines?
No, I mean, typically we just, we would look for buildings to not be built in that area, in that drainage easement. Oh, Ben, you're actually muted right now.
Sorry about that.
Just wanted to point out that floodplain does start on the other side of Burton, so it's a good thing that they show that easement down through there to give an owner heads up that they don't want to build in the lowest point of the lot.
Okay.
Hello, this is Joe.
Hey, what's that, Joe? I'm sorry we missed that.
I don't know. Did somebody have a question?
If there aren't any questions, I guess, are we ready to move on to the last one? And if, last one.
Okay. I can move on to the last one. I'm bringing the engineer for the applicant up to a panel so we can see and talk to him if necessary. So I may just wait a second for him to pop back up here.
All right.
There he is. This last application is a preliminary development plan. If you guys will remember, there was a property at the end of Industry Road that applied for rezoning and annexation toward the end of 2019, and then that rezoning and annexation was finalized by City Council in early, I guess in January. I think it was January actually of this year. So this is that same property. You know, they went through the zone change. They're coming back through for their preliminary development plan, and what they're proposing is sort of a two-phase development. So the first phase would be sort of the construction of a gravel area that they're proposing to store equipment and equipment and materials, I believe is what it was. And then the second phase of construction would be the building and the parking lot. They would also do improvements at the end of Industry Road on their property as part of phase one, is indicated by the development plan. For the most part, I mean, not for the most part, I don't really have any issues with the application. There's a couple of things just to note. They are requesting 3 waivers. So the first waiver that they're requesting is to allow for early grading. Staff doesn't have any issues with that request for early grading. They'll have to comply with the condition. I basically spell out the things that they would need to do in, let me see where I put it on here. Under the waivers, number 1 on page 3 of the staff report, it basically spells out all of the items that, you know, Ben would have to review in order for them to be approved for that early grading. The second thing they're looking for is that would require a waiver is to be able to use gravel in that storage area. You know, similar to the neighboring property at 167 that we heard last month. You know, this is largely an industrial area. I don't really have any problem with them using gravel in this area. The Board of Adjustment back in March gave them a conditional use permit to allow for outdoor storage. And so basically between the nature of the area and the fact that they've already gotten a conditional use permit for storage, I don't really have any issues with them using gravel there. The third waiver that they're asking for is our ordinance requires in industrial property to provide a 15-foot landscaping buffer anywhere where it adjoins agricultural property. And they're asking for a waiver to that on the northern side of the property. And if you look at their development plan, there's a substantial number of trees that they're, proposing to just let remain there, that kind of run along this drainage area on the north side of the property, which would be a far more substantial buffer than, the 15-foot landscaping buffer that the ordinance would typically require. So I'm in support of that waiver as well. I don't think that it makes any sense to require an additional landscaping buffer when there's already a far more substantial buffer in place there, just in a slightly different location than we would typically require. Outside of that, going through the rest of the staff report, there's the ability, they have the ability for some of the buffering areas for there to be the buffers to be waived with the agreement of the neighboring property owner. So, there may be some buffers that are shown on the preliminary plan that don't end up getting constructed if staff receives and puts in the file, a copy of a waiver where the neighboring property owner has said that they don't need it. There are some buffers, that are listed in the staff report and discussed that aren't able to be waived, particularly the screening that we would require around the storage area. The ordinance is pretty clear that it has to be not visible from adjoining properties in the right of way. So, we'll obviously be monitoring that as the plan moves to the final development plan stage.
Anybody have questions for Matt?
Sorry I'm late. Hopefully you all didn't finish and this is the last thing on the agenda and we're done. I hope you started from the bottom up.
We're working on next month right now.
Yes.
No, I think it's going to be a fairly quick meeting, Mark.
Did you really do the other two applications or what did I miss? I'm sorry.
Yes.
We're working on the third one right now.
Wow. Record
They're
time.
both, the first two are consent eligible. They're just minor plats.
Yeah, I noticed that.
They're just subdividing 5 acres off of a larger tract. So, and this last one, I think, very similar to some that we've seen recently, industrial park. But
I know when I read through it, I didn't have much of a problem with anything. They all look pretty straightforward. I guess my only question then real quick though is on the waivers. Staff is okay with all the waivers.
Yes, yeah, I don't have any problem with any of the waivers they're requesting.
Okay.
and you feel confident, Matt, that they do have intentions to make improvements to the road, industry road? Or is that it?
Yeah, I mean, they've indicated on the plan that that'll be part of phase one. So I mean, I don't have any reason to believe it's something, that they're planning on putting off without any intention of completing it.
Yeah. Because that potentially could feed into if they divide another lot off back there, it would feed to that.
Yeah, I mean, if they have the road improved, I mean, if they so chose later in the future, they could, yeah, possibly split that lot into, sort of an east and a west lot.
Right. Anybody have questions?
Again, sorry I was late. I had some technical difficulties.
I did too. I didn't think I was going to make it on.
I hear you. Same here.
You figure out what the problem was?
Yeah, I kept trying to power up my laptop and it wasn't powering up, so I had to run an extension cord. And then once I finally got it powered up, it was deciding whether it wanted to work or not, and it wasn't communicating. But it's working now, and I'll try to get a little early on Thursday so we can hopefully have a record meeting.
All right.
What's coming in for how much activity is happening as far as next month's meeting now? I see this one's pretty light.
We had 5 projects in. 2 of them are tied together. So four really projects. They're more on the minor side. So it should be a quick meeting next time. We have one zone change that wants to go when we have an in-person meeting. So depending on what we decide in July, they may, that's on Oxford Road, Old Oxford.
Yeah.
So that'll bring some people out and that'll take a while. So
Yes, I mean, you've got 3 postpones this month, so those will carry over next month, Steve.
Right.
yeah.
And then will we
Yeah,
get
those-
Winter Derringer back? I see they're withdrawn. Are those supposed to be withdrawn or postponed?
I believe that one's withdrawn, but they're on the agenda for another site next month. So they withdrew one and then we got a new application.
So you're talking right there, Steve's 4, possibly 5 that are
Right.
and or, reapplied. So we'll have a pretty hefty month next month.
Yeah, no, I can tell. I also wanted to let everybody know that Michaela has taken a new job. So she submitted her letter of resignation. She's taken a job in Louisville, and Thursday will be her last meeting. So if y'all want to wish her well on Thursday.
Now that's 2
it's
people
kind
that Matt has gone through. Do you think it's Matt? Do we need to have a closed session? HR? 'Cause I think that's the second lady that Matt's gotten rid of, Matt.
I don't know what's going on.
He's training them too well.
I guess.
But she's leaving on good terms. I mean, she's taken a promotion essentially in transportation planning. So she's trying to get well-rounded.
All right.
Good for her.
So yeah, so Thursday will be her last meeting. The budget is, city restored some money to our budget, but overall they're still proposed to cut it from what you all approved by about a little over 20,000. So the county will match that. So our budget will be cut by about 40,000 from what you all approved. So we probably won't rehire Michaela's position for a couple months just to save a little money and give us a little cushion for this year, because revenues may possibly be down for us this year. And also I wanted to look through our fee schedule and maybe change that a little bit. We have some development fees that I think can be adjusted. So I wanted to bring maybe a new fee schedule proposal to the commission maybe in August. So maybe just kind
Will
of
you be
review
doing
what.
comparisons of the surrounding areas, planning and zoning commissions to make sure that, I would assume when you say adjustments, increases, so are you going to be then polling other planning and zoning commissions to make sure that we're at least in line with them, not overpriced, but definitely not underpriced either on our fee schedule? Good.
Yes, we'll do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve, for running a meeting. I appreciate it.
What's the policy now at the office? If you want to come in and wish Michaela,
Well,
bring best
she'll
wishes
be,
to her.
if you want to come in Wednesday, because that's her last day in the office.
Yeah.
We're essentially going to those that can work remotely are working remotely. At least part of the week still. We still have the office closed to the public. You can make an appointment and come in if you need to, but most of our work can be taken care of over the phone or via email. So if you want to come in and speak to her or wish her well, I would come in Wednesday. Just call ahead, and we have a doorbell on the front door, so anybody that needs to drop off plans or pick up plans or talk to somebody can come and ring the doorbell, and we'll let you in on an individual basis.
Sounds good.
So just wear a mask if you don't feel comfortable, but otherwise we'll let you in and speak to you at a distance.
That'll work.
All right.
If there's nothing else, I'll make a motion, we adjourn, and we'll see everybody on Thursday.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
See y'all.
Thursday.
I know.
See you Thursday.